Hey, good afternoon. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Thursday, February 5th. Starting with traffic blocked and students out against ICE today, hundreds of students walked out of schools in the Seattle area and rallied at Seattle City Hall to call for immigration enforcement officers to change their tactics. Amara Alfs-Weinbaum is a senior at Lakeside School and helped organize the protest. She says it's horrible that immigration officers are targeting families as children are trying to go to school.
Education is a fundamental human right, and human rights are not applicable on the basis of immigration status. They apply to everyone. And so using intimidation tactics and fear and literally abducting children and pulling them into cars on their way to school is a violation of our human rights. And that's something that everyone should be standing up for.
They blocked traffic today for a while on 4th Avenue. A wave of protests against immigration enforcement tactics have sprung up across the region and country after 2 people were killed by agents in Minnesota. As they were out of school today, the state's public school superintendent was rallying to get more money for public education. The Sup is throwing his support behind Democratic lawmakers' proposed millionaire's tax. Noelle Gasca has more.
Superintendent Chris Rakedahl says while it's not his job to join negotiations over the bill, his position is clear.
I want to say unequivocally, if not a single amendment happened to that bill, the legislature should pass that.
Democrats estimate the tax would raise $3.7 billion from high-income earners making more than $1 million. Rakedahl proposes using $760 million of that revenue pool to cover new education programs like 2 years of free tuition to in-state public colleges and universities. He'd also like to see the legislature cut state property taxes and fund free school meals for all students. Noelle Gasca, KUOW News.
In policing today, King County's seeing continued reductions in gun violence back to pre-pandemic levels. According to a new report, the fourth quarter of 2025 had just half the number of gun violence victims compared to the same time frame the year before. The numbers mirror national trends, but also show reductions in key populations, including Black men, juveniles, and cities in South King County. Prosecutor Lisa Mannion says that reflects the work of police and community groups.
Some of the work that we're doing on the prevention side of things is having an impact. Working with community-based nonprofits and law enforcement, the work that we're doing in Kent in reaching out to young people before they become victims or perpetrators of harm.
Mannion says 85% of juveniles charged in firearm offenses have disrupted school attendance, so one priority has been to get vulnerable teens back in school. Seattle police are investigating 3 recent fatal shootings, including 2 high school students. A bill to restrict license plate readers is moving forward in the state legislature. State senators passed SB 6002 yesterday, so now it moves to the House for further review. It would ban local police departments from broadly sharing license plate data with immigration enforcement agents. The bill would also require license plate data to be deleted after 3 weeks unless it's being used in a police investigation. Seahawks fans, how we doing? Distracted at work? Getting your halftime spread ready, hopefully? Seattle police say they're prepared for the big day, too, with a simple plan.
We are planning to have a lot of officers downtown.
Patrick Michaud with SPD says they expect a lot of fans in and around Pioneer Square at watch parties and sports bars.
We encourage that, honestly. We just want everybody to be safe when they're doing it.
So extra DUI patrols will be out in King County and Snohomish County. So he says plan on a designated driver or take mass transit. And if the Seahawks win it all, Michaud reminds everyone not to climb public structures. That's been a problem at past celebrations.
So let's just keep the partying on the ground. That would be great.
The Super Bowl kicks off at 3:30 on Sunday. One nice little win is already coming to former University of Washington students. Not a sports win, a check for $40. It's to pay out a class action lawsuit against the school that accused UW of breaching contract by charging full tuition during the pandemic despite switching to online classes. A student started the suit. Last fall, UW agreed to a $4 million settlement, and now small payments will go out to about 56,000 students. And with that, Team USA has its first win under its belt in the 2026 Olympics.
Here's Hillary Knight to the net. Score! 13th career Olympic goal for the captain, Hillary Knight.
That's Northwest native Hillary Knight helping Team USA to a 5-1 victory over Czechia today in the preliminary round. Knight was raised in Sun Valley, Idaho, and outside of the games, she captains the PWHL's Seattle Torrent. 3 other Torrent players are also on Team USA. Curling and women's hockey were the first sports to get underway in these Olympics, and Team USA also won in the preliminary mixed curling round today. The official opening ceremonies tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, with primetime coverage starting at 5. The Northwest hasn't gotten much snow this year.
I was noticing this weekend, actually, from Seattle, like it's very noticeable on both the Cascades and the Olympics, just from looking at them from the city, that there's not as much coverage as there usually is.
That's Karen Bumbacco, Washington's deputy state climatologist. The state has the 3rd lowest snowpack on record for this time of year. With climate change, that could become more normal, which means skiing might look different in the Northwest. But skiers like Jansen Slaughter are still making the most of it.
You just have to roll with it, and you can still find ways to have fun.
This season, ski areas have had to turn to machines to make snow or close steeper runs when there's just not enough coverage. Let's talk Hawks. The Seattle Seahawks are 3 days away from a Super Bowl rematch against the New England Patriots. Hawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba says he's taking all the hype this week in stride and sticking to the game plan.
Me, I'm really locked in, honestly, and it's fun to go through this week with your guys, but we came here to win a game.
The team got an injury scare this week when safety Nick Emanwari left practice with an ankle injury, but today he said he's feeling good and expects to play on Sunday. Kickoff is at 3:30 in Santa Clara, California. And finally in sports, some heads turned among former NBA Supersonics fans today. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson met with the head of the National Basketball Association this morning. Ferguson's office told the Seattle Times it was a short introductory phone call with League Commissioner Adam Silver. Ferguson wanted to share his interest in offering support should the NBA expand. Silver mentioned in December they're looking at Seattle as a possible expansion market. Now, our feature story today. Hundreds of people here in Washington are rebuilding their homes after December's historic flooding. Many are questioning if they should rebuild in areas where flooding's projected to get worse with climate change. Casey Martin has our story.
Power tools and big trucks shake the few buildings in Hamilton, Washington. It's in the woods of the Cascade Mountains, and it's a small town, home to about 300 people. A man named Frank Boots runs a small excavator, digging post holes. The muddy field he's digging in used to be a large wooden stage in the center of town, until it washed away in the December storms.
It was kind of heartbreaking. It's weird not seeing it there because summertime we have like bluegrass plays on there, different rock bands. Just to know it's not going to happen this year, it sucks.
Boots and his wife own Boots Bar and Grill, a few blocks from the Skagit River. The Skagit is one of over a dozen rivers in the state that flooded in December after intense rainfall. Water filled farms and ran through small towns up and down western Washington. The state says almost 3,900 homes were damaged, with over 400 of those majorly damaged or destroyed. At Boots Bar in Hamilton, the water was 4 feet high inside the building.
But the flood, it gets inside the walls, all the insulation, everything, it's got to be all torn out and replaced.
These smaller towns higher in the mountains tend to get a little flooding every few years. Boots and his wife have been here for over a decade.
I knew this was a flood town. There's always a chance. Not as bad as this.
They fell in love with the area. In the summertime, it's a popular spot for backpackers and climbers.
Imagine all of these trees with leaves and flowers, the mountains and the wildlife up here. It is just the prettiest place in the world.
Boots and his wife aren't sure they want to stay, though. Climate change is expected to fuel more damaging floods like this in the future. Guillaume Mauger, Washington state climatologist, says a warmer climate means in the winter, Washington gets less snow and more rain, which can flood rivers.
We're going to get bigger floods, and they're going to happen more often. What we used to call the 100-year event is going to be more like a 20 to 25-year event.
The state is asking FEMA for $21.3 million to help people rebuild. The cost to repair public bridges and roads is still being tallied. Julie De La Sara is director of Skagit County's Office of Emergency Management, one of the hardest hit areas in the state.
Recovery can take decades, honestly. Businesses who can't recover, homes that can't be reoccupied.
Given concerns about increasing flood risk, some people have called for long-term flood protection, like seawalls and barriers. The town of Mount Vernon is one of the few in the state with a flood wall. Here's Washington Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell at that wall in December after it held back the floodwaters from Mount Vernon.
Look at what the mayor was able to do here to build this seawall that protects this community. So I am sure there are other parts of our state that need a similar infrastructure.
For now, bar owner Frank Boots is planning to rebuild. He's thinking about constructing a stage high enough to clear the floodwater next time.
We'll get bigger, so my next plan is to buy them next 2 lots, and I'm going to build a better stage out there.
And he'll likely change the motto out front that says, a flood of a good time. For NPR News, I'm Casey Martin in Hamilton.
Next time on Seattle Now, it's Casual Friday, and we're gearing up for the Super Bowl. Get your blue and green ready, and try not to think too hard about the last time the Seahawks were there.
They made the big game against New England in 2015, and we don't need to talk about that anymore.
I don't think we made the Super Bowl in 2015.
I've never heard about that. I thought they canceled it that year.
Hear that and more tomorrow morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See ya.